Hi, my name's Don Ney, and thank you for joining me. I appreciate it as you looked at the previous videos that we made that you could be shared with. The reason I bring this up is because each one has its own title and means something very specific that I'm trying to share that you can use now. This particular episode is called I Want to Go. And the reason I say it that way is because the people that I'm going to be talking about are the people who very specifically have already made up their mind they want to go somewhere else. And it's kind of interesting because you talk about people and you say, hey, listen, I'm going to be looking for houses where people are don't-wanters who want to leave the area and go somewhere else. That's a lot of people. It could be anybody, especially today with the baby boomer market that we're in the middle of. And I say that because that's the market I chase, because that's the market that has the most people who are homeowners, who are wanting to downsize or are wanting to retire and wanting to go somewhere else. Which brings me to today's subject matter of I Want to Go. While out in the field, it's been quite fun. While knocking on doors and talking to people, I ran across a couple. We're going to call them Don and Shirley, as that's their name. Well, Don and Shirley, they very clearly said, hi Don, come on in, let's talk. And after talking to them, we discovered a couple of things. One, the house that they bought 9 years ago that they currently live in is too big for them. And we all know people who have houses that are too big for them because the kids have grown up and moved, they've gone into college, they started their own families, they have their own careers and their own objectives. So at some point during everyone's life, where you start, what you grow into, how you level it off, and how you start to go out of it and to enjoy the later years are two different things. There's sunset and sunrise. Currently, the sunrise really becomes the buyers we're looking for, and the sunset are really where we go to look for our sellers. And you'll find out that the sellers who are in sunset tend to bring you the best opportunities. Now, that doesn't always mean that's a person who's retired. What it does mean is a person who's looking for a change in the current lifestyle and getting a different size of what they're currently involved in. Size of a house, size of the maintenance it takes to run it. Because a lot of folks, they just say, hey, flat out, this house is too big for me. It's too much work. I can't take care of it. The maintenance is out of hand. It's too expensive. I can't heat it. The 13-foot roofs ceilings that we have on this, that are hard to heat and cost me too much. These are all things that we hear that people say to us when we're asking them why they want to go somewhere else. Very important. Why do they want to go somewhere else? Well, Don and Shirley, we just came right up and asked them, do they have another house? Yes. They said yes. They have another house. They bought one in another area, in another state. Well, how are you going to get there? Well, we're going to move. Well, when do you plan on doing this? Well, we don't know yet. Uh-oh. What do you mean we don't know yet? That's something that you want to make a note of because that's an area that a decision hasn't been made on. And when a decision's made on when, that means the components that they were looking for in order to move have been satisfied. Those components are the effort, the money, the truck, the people to load it, the packing materials, every little detail, the tape to tape the box up to put it onto the truck. How much does all this cost? And once it gets to the location you're going to, who's going to unload it, unpack it, and put it away? That all sounds like, oh, you can hire people to do that. Well, sure you can if you're financially solvent enough to pay for all of it, and it can be quite expensive. Or it could be maybe a time when you want to step up as the buyer and say, hey, I have a solution for that problem. And you do, because believe me, getting a couple of people to help you and getting a moving truck and making a deal with the local guys who are movers and letting them know you'll send them business to help them help your people get moved really is beneficial. Well, Don and Shirley flat said, our house is too big. We can afford it. We have the money. Our house is overpriced. We don't care. We want to stay here until we sell it. Yes, we have another house in another state. Yes, we're going to move there to be near my family. In other words, where their kids are and their grandkids. You'll find out right away that's where most people move to their family. You'll also find out that, listen, the only reason they want to sell it without a current realtor, without listing it with a realtor, is one, they're trying to save money. 2, there's been a disappointing result in a previous relationship with a real estate professional that was a broker or an agent. That I find is the number one reason why people say, I don't want to sell with a realtor. And number 3, they're experienced people to where they bought and sold enough property they understand that you can do it without a realtor. Number 4 is that they want the highest and best price with not wanting to share it with anybody. So there's a little bit of selfishness going on here, hoping that the greed factor kicks in and they get full price for their house without paying for it, paying any realtor or any commissions. All of these are great things for us to work with. So here's what we've discovered. If you've already got another house, and you're living in one you have yet to sell, and upon selling it, you're going to move to the other one, and it's not a financial difficulty to you, but it isn't something that you just want to give away. Well, we are the solution. How are we the solution? Because number 1, how about this? I'll buy the house from you, and I'll buy it from you at what would be an affordable payment to me, and without that seller knowing that it's going to be a payment that's commensurate with what I can rent it for. And then I'm going to buy it and say, if the rent's $2,000 a month for a big house, I'm going to say I can only pay $2,000 a month for it. But you can move now. I'll take care of all the maintenance and the pest control and the landscaping and the security of the house and the property taxes and the insurance. And they're going to say, what? Well, what does that mean? That's like renting. And you tell them straight up, no, I'm not renting the house. I'm buying it. The money I'm paying you is going to be a credit towards what I'm paying you in the price. But I'm willing to give you closer to your price, which is going to be closer to retail by you giving me my deal, giving me my terms. And what happens is you can immediately move to your new house. You have a qualified person in your existing house who takes over all the problems and headaches that you may be experiencing. Cleaning the swimming pool, cleaning the spa, taking care of mowing all the lawn, and pruning the trees, mowing the lawn, and keeping the sprinkler system working. There's a lot of maintenance to a house that most people never take into consideration. So I really drill on the maintenance that you have to do on your property. And anyone here, raise your hand if you've owned a house. It has maintenance. Lots of maintenance. And you'll find out some people maintain their houses well, some people maintain their houses not at all. And there's all those in between. These are all factors that you want to consider when buying and what the expense will be of that property. I make it very clear when I'm buying a property that these items are part of the big loaf of salami that need to be sliced up a piece at a time so we can determine which one's yours and which one's mine until we get to that end result. I don't know if I've told you before or not, but I'm going to let you know now. I've been in someone's houses where they have told me flat out, I want to sell my house now. Okay, let's do it. And then we sit down, we do a walkthrough, we go through every detail of the house and check all the plugs and the water, and just to kind of build rapport with the sellers and get kind of more of a personal relationship with them to find out what the needs really are. And we have found that people who really want out, literally in 20 minutes the deed's being done. And people who are not sure, it takes a couple of hours. And people who are very indecisive, but yet do make a decision, yes or no. I've sat in houses as much as 6.5 hours with no decision made before that person would finally say, well, I guess I'm going to have to sell you my house in order to get you to leave. That means you're on top of it. That means you want to keep going until you find out what the real reason is. I've had people ask me to leave their home. Of course I have. No one wants to stay in their house for 6 hours about buying a house. But if the rapport's good, the water's good, the food's good, they want you to be part of their family, especially when you're going to have a long-term financial obligation with them, such as them doing a purchase money mortgage, which is the legal name for a seller carryback. So all I say is, look, find a person who's already got another house and needs to get to it, but the one he's in is holding them up. You can make two things. One, you can say, look, are you downsizing? And they're going to say, yes. And if they say yes, you say, great. Where are you moving to? What kind of house? What kind of payment? Is it a financial obligation? And what about this big house you need to get out of? And the people always come back and say the same thing. We're downsizing. It's too much work for us. We're older now. And that's the perfect opportunity. Perfect for you to step up and say, I will step into your shoes on this house for a period of time to give myself an opportunity to buy it and give yourself an opportunity to move immediately with no hassles, no pain, and no expense to yourself. The only thing keeping you from joining your relatives, your family, your son, your granddaughter, your mother, your father is this big house that you don't want. So I'm helping you with that by saying I'll take over that obligation until you personally have an opportunity to get relocated, set into your new house, and then we'll have a new negotiation of what we should actually buy the house for. Now that term that I just put out there, because I'm sure you're confused, is what we call a contract right, or the option to do something in the future, and by doing that we get complete control of the house. Now I know you've got some interest in how money's made with that one, but believe me, there's a ton of money on the table. I don't mean 2,000 pounds, although it could be. There's a lot of money on the table when you think things through. They're out of the house. It's now your responsibility. You have an obligation to pay them a number that you agreed upon. How's that going to happen? The tenant's going to pay it for you. And by the way, when you first buy the house and it gets recorded and the purchase money mortgage, seller carryback is being done by the seller, and now it's yours and your control, the deal is not over. It's just starting. New negotiations take place. Now you control the house. New negotiations continue to take place all the way through your ownership, or as long as you have to pay anyone on that property. It's a fantastic journey, and that's something we'll touch upon it on potentially on the next video that you watch. So right now, the person who wants to go to another house, downsize, and has to leave a big house, which means they need to get out of it, and they're going to have more money available to themselves now that they're out of this house. You have to always make sure that the tenant has the ability to pay the rent that you collect, that you will then pay to them. You're in the middle. That middle creates quite a spread, doesn't take too many, and you absolutely will have your retirement. Thank you for listening. I'm Don Ney.